Hello, NBs and Bs and persons of all persuasions. Welcome to my workshop. I'm Dr. 743, but you can call me Jeremy. This week we are working on some more unpacking. I think we're getting pretty close to the end of the game now. So we may end up switching over to something else if I manage to finish up before I run out of gas, basically. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully everyone's day is going well so far. Whether it's early morning or late evening for good grief for you, depending on where you're at. I will undoubtedly butts with this stuff later, but for the moment I'm just trying to get it out of this box. Interesting to note that it looks like we may have reached the point in these folks' lives where they have replaced their miscellaneous hangers with one uniform type. Because, much like myself, up until this move, they were basically just, holding on to whatever they'd picked up along the way. Which is perfectly valid. I mean, whether they match or not, hangers are, usually the sort of thing that only you ever see. So it's a matter of whether or not your own personal OCD is going to drive you up the wall. Oh. Okay. If you have a whole bunch of different ones staring you in the face every time you open your giant walk-in closet. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay. Now, I admit this looks neat, but that particular design choice annoys me as an individual. Because it makes it look like you've got 4 small drawers up here, except that you actually just have 2 large drawers still. Granted, the 2 large drawers are a lot more functional than the Or smaller drawers would probably be. Hmm. Somewhat ironic note is that in a few previous moves, I had noted that... Oh. Interesting safe. I noted that we seem to be getting better about where we pack assorted things. But there's still some stuff that always manages to sneak through with stuff it doesn't necessarily go with. And this closet's a pretty good example of that, considering we've got sewing supplies, a few different pieces of sewing supplies in here, a sketchbook, this, I mean, doesn't rattle or anything, so I'm not really sure whether or not it's a jewelry box, but that would be my first guess. In a vacuum, anyway. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. See, if I was paying attention, I could probably remember which one of these bras actually came from which stage in all of these moves. And, by extension, figure out whose is whose. Whose is whose? Whose are whose? Which individual wears which? But as anyone who's watched previous sessions can tell you, I mostly just sort of threw them into the closest drawer and otherwise ignored them, so I can't for the life of me tell you when any given style showed up. Okay. Now, part of my brain says... Part of my brain says to keep the styles of hangers together. The other part of my brain says, well, that depends on what you want to hang up, doesn't it? You are getting confused. Oh, no, wait, this is probably... Yeah, that's slightly too big. Yeah, because these things will only properly hold certain types of items, obviously, and depending on the size of that item, it'll only let you hang it on one row versus the other. Because they didn't program in the ability to be a grumpily nonsense person. In all fairness... Oh, it's... Gotcha. In all fairness, it is kind of a waste of hanger space. And, just generally bad form in general to take something that you're hanging up in order to kind of keep it looking nice and accessible, and then cram it into a space that doesn't quite fit on a hanger. That's just not great planning at best. Let's see. This is a blouse. It's dress. It is dress. Okay. Works. These are... Yeah, pants. That's what those are. No? Oh, this is probably blocking it, right? Oh, no, just my imagination. Is this not what I think it is? Suppose that's possible. Alright. This does fit up there. Okay. Feel like if I had been thinking about it, I would remember what this thing looked like when it came out of the box, but especially this morning, I appear to have spaced this piece of information. Let's see here. Now, part of my thinking here is just my personal urge to keep things that are roughly the same size near each other. Part of it's a matter of style, because, I mean, look at this stuff versus this stuff, but the other consideration is just that some of this longer stuff that's hung up top is easier to get at from this area where you're partially blocked off by the dresser itself. Okay. That bothers my brain worms the least, I think. It's a nice dress. See, if I'm... excuse me. See, I'm the kind of person So looking at this, I'm like, well, these are the sorts of thing you wear on your own. And someone is much more likely to wear this or this on a day-to-day basis than they are this, whether or not they're in the television and film industry. So keeping those closer to the front makes sense. And then these are more of novelty t-shirts. Like this has moved with us through many apartments, so it definitely belongs to our main protag person, and probably doesn't need to be worn in conjunction with these dresses that are hanging under it. So it's probably safe to shift those back further than where the blouses are at. Even if, to be perfectly frank, I don't know that a lot of these articles of clothing necessarily go together, if you know what I mean. Like, style-wise, I'm not convinced that these are, in fact, necessarily outfits that someone would, in fact, wear in terms of, like, combining stuff that's up here with the items that are down here. But if it were actually my closet, that would be kind of my main goal, is to put the things that we used together as close to each other as possible. Oh. Which admittedly means that now I've listed like 3 different competing methodologies for how exactly I would be arranging these things in here. But to be perfectly fair, I'm also the kind of person that would do a lot of their shopping based in part on how I was going to organize things, in addition to how I was going to use them. Because I feel like those two things actually go together to a degree. Although I suppose I am also the guy who has a hole in his face, so. I think by the time you reach, I'm having spare cybernetic stuffed in my skull as a day-to-day operation. You probably don't get to be judged on your relative sensibleness anymore. Much as I may deny it sometimes. You won this. Good morning, Cat. How are you doing? Okay. Not bad. How are you? I'm doing all right. Probably a little bit on the tired side by comparison to normal, but it has been a week. It has been a long week. Yes, exactly. For so many reasons. But, you know, we made it. We all made it to the weekend. Well, everyone here made it to the weekend anyway. Let's see here. That... And while you're unpacking, I'm actually packing. So I'll be in and out. Okay, Cat. I don't know that I realized you were moving. Hopefully the transition is an upgrade. Or at least just a change. Haven't mentioned it yet, it's a convoluted one, but the end goal is indeed an upgrade. Excellent. That would explain why I, well, that would explain why I didn't know about it in advance this time. There's plenty of chances to miss things on good old Twitter. Don't know what this is. How have you been enjoying this house? Well, you know, so far, I think my, like, from a building perspective, I think it looks like a nice place. I will say that how some of the stuff got moved around maybe could have used some improvements. Like, I know the large portion of the game is sorting out how people decided to box things up when they were moving. But it feels like between some of the moves, you're getting better and better at preparing for the moves that you're making, like in terms of making sure that things are ending up in the correct boxes for the correct rooms and things like that. And then at a certain point, it kind of goes back the other direction, basically. Um, I will admit, when I first got to this level, it took me quite a while to realize that these arrows were here on the right-hand side of the screen. So I started out with the impression that they had somehow moved into a place that only had a half bath and no actual bathroom in it. Which, honestly, I'm sure those sorts of places exist, but this isn't one of them. There are my glasses. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is about Saturdays. For some reason, I manage to consistently forget to put my glasses on my head. Despite the fact that, um, I need them to be able to see very well. At least at close range. Oh. Yeah, those weekend vibes indeed. Oh, come on, there's room. You can fit. I swear. Is this? Yes. Okay, what are you? Oh, it's another dress. Okay. Oh, I see. No? Huh, that's weird. Guess it will only let me... That's gotta be a bug of some kind. Because I can't think of anything else that would stop this particular dress from being hung up at literally any other slot than this first one on this type of hanger. That seems better. Okay. No, that's just pajamas. Okay. It's not ideal, but I'll accept it. There's gotta be some kind of logic that's being applied to the size of some of these things that I'm hanging up that isn't necessarily obvious. Like, maybe the way it interprets size on some of these things is a little wonky. Because you definitely should be able to put some of these things closer to each other than you can. And it does seem like somehow some of these really small blouses are preventing things from being hung up under them if those things are beyond a certain size or style, and I have no idea what kind of math it's using in order to decide that. Let's see. This probably goes in living room. No. Yeah, that seems more like it. Okay. Oh, I mentioned this last time, but early on in the game, I kind of made the assumption when I was laying out a lot of these workspaces that whoever we are in the game is left-handed. Just because it doesn't indicate one way or the other. And I have a tendency to just ascribe, how do I put that? I have a tendency to ascribe attributes to virtual characters that I don't possess. So I'm right-handed, so if I have the choice, I'm going to make whatever character I'm fiddling around with in-game left-handed instead. Which is kind of funny, but, you know, I'm just that way. The thing is that with this wrist brace here, because of the way it's designed, we can actually tell that this person is right-handed and not left-handed, because the hole for their thumb is on this side versus the other side, and the straps on these things always go over the back of the hand so that they're not being stressed by the opening and closing of the hand all the time. Well, I didn't consider it to be that big-brained, but thank you. It's just, you know, a lot of this game is little details, so, you know, you end up staring all that stuff, and The instant I looked at this, I'm like, oh, this strap's this direction, not the other way around. This person is working their right hand constantly and at an extreme degree of stress. So if they're not ambidextrous, and they are definitely right-handed as an individual. Um, I actually finished with that closet? I think I did. At least in terms of putting things away. Where the heck does one stick a safe? I guess it depends what's in this. Because, like, if it's passports and things, you definitely don't want someone to find it. Although at that size, it could also be for anything from a pistol to cash, I guess. Okay. Not really a great place for plants. Also not a great place for plants. I didn't think so, but it's worth looking. It's a closet. Maybe, but I just think it's gonna force me to put this here, if I was to guess. Sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out what the game is going to consider to be an appropriate place for some things. Because I know that, like, ideally an incense burner is going to have room for wherever it is you're going to be using it, but you don't necessarily want to just keep it lying around out in the open at all times, depending on, like, if it's in your bedroom versus, like, you use it in the bathroom as a form of air freshener. So at the last place, my impulse was to put it in a drawer while it's not being used, but the game gave me some deep frowny faces about that plan, so here we are. Yeah, that's probably better. Sure, that's fine for now. That up here. Unless you are a very perky person in the morning, don't put anything that you don't want knocked over next to your alarm clock. Like, you should never go to sleep with candles lit anyway or anything like that, but don't put these things right next to each other like that. Essentially. So there's a better than average chance on most days you're gonna end up knocking that over. Probably the most amusing and recurring of characters in this game, though, is this collection of chicken stuffed animals. Because once they show up, the number and variety... Oh, this one has sunglasses. The number and variety of them that you take with you from place to place is ever expanding. Here's the door. Okay, this is the door in and out, and this is the door into the closet, I believe. Yeah. Okay. That's perfect. Let's see this. I also love that we still have some of these really old sketchbooks with us. Like, oh, that's our music notes, but a lot of our newer sketchbooks are just plain black, spiral bound, which there's nothing wrong with, but if you pay attention, you can tell that the earlier novelty ones that we've picked up over the years have been moving with us from place to place. Like, I can only imagine what sorts of gems are inside of this one in specific, just because, like, it looks like it's essentially off-brand, legally distinct My Little Pony themed. And we've been carrying it around quite a while by the time we move here. Which is anyone who has done any amount art slash illustration can tell you means that it has a lot of learning experiences inside of its pages. You know, the kinds of things where you look back on it and you may have assorted fun memories of like those particular designs or when you were working on them and things, but now that you're a more experienced artist and you're able to tell what you would have liked it to turn out as, for most folks it ends up making you wince taking a look at some of that earlier stuff. Even if, like us, you've managed to move on from your early doodles of pigs and chicken people and things of that nature to actually making full-blown series out of them. Let's take a look here. In the office, looks like it's doing pretty well. Gonna pass on the dining room for the moment. I can live with the kitchen. It's kind of funny because, like, some of this stuff I would probably arrange differently IRL, but okay, I can't rotate that. That's fine. Part of the reason that I don't here is just because of the fact that it has a certain amount of constraints on where it will actually consider something to be proper placement. Although, obviously, the other part of it is the fact that some of these places are not really great locations to store things. Like this shelf right here in the upper right hand side is going to be a huge pain to access. Like, it looks nice in terms of symmetry, and it's still technically usable, but even if you're a fairly tall person, in order to get at anything that's put up here, you have to stand basically right here and reach back. So unless you are like 6'6" or taller, anything that's put back here is going to be at least partially inaccessible to you. Like, you're going to have to reach for it. And, well, I don't know for sure. I have a suspicion that the people that live here are not that tall. still don't really know what these things are. Oh, welcome in, Catchester. Or would you prefer marshmallow? And thank you. My good friend Tomowawa made the model. She does an excellent job of design and illustration. But welcome in. It's good to see you. How is your day going so far? Catchester, please. I'm waiting to change the name here still. Okay. Yeah, I know they can be kind of persnickety about how many and changes you make and how often with Twitch. I'm good. I hope you're doing good as well. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. A little tired, maybe, but, you know, it's been one of those weeks. Also, as anyone who's hung around for any length of time can... Darn, still have that cane. Anyone who's hung around for any length of time can tell you I have a tendency to work an inordinate number of hours in any given week, so that also contributes. Oh man, definitely been one of those weeks. Yeah. Yeah, it certainly has. It's, given some of the aspects of this past week, I have had to take a few things off the old planning board for March. They need to be kind of looked at and reevaluated, I think. Just because I suspect they may not be as thematically digestible at the moment. This game looks really fun, though. I'm wanting to play it myself. Yeah, it's a really fun game. It's interesting. The types of details that they've put into it. And where you can tell that they definitely put in a lot of extra effort on things. Like... the sound design, as you may have guessed from the way that I'm just fiddling with these things right now, is one of my favorite examples of this, although Like the ability to turn on and off some lights and like program the microwave clock in a couple of places and things like that are interesting. Like it encourages you both to fiddle around with the environment just to see what they've done with it, but also it adds a lot of texture basically to the overall immersion. Like this isn't just a generic box full of stuff noise. It's actually the audio that you would normally get from like fiddling around with essentially a legally distinct Scrabble game. And depending on which game it is, like, yeah, the detail is really nice. Yep. Yeah, the hot water bottle. The hot water bottle is a really good one. Like, they definitely didn't have to spend as much time on that as they did, but like literally everything you pick up and move around in this game, someone has taken the time to figure out what it should sound like. And also, it sounds subtly different depending on what it is you're putting it down on. I like the obvious Nintendo products there. Makes me feel seen. Yeah, there's definitely that. It's a lot of sway. There's a lot of stuff that they had fun figuring out how best to make a legally distinct version of whatever product that is. Also, like, in terms of detail, the fact that they took into account that a lot of people who have a Wii also used their N64 controllers with it for especially games like Star Fox 64 or like the Super Mario games and things that were ported into the virtual store for it. Partially just because the controller layout is better than trying to use the Wiimotes for that. But, you know, also because a lot of people still had N64 controllers. So it, you know, was a small but pleasant design choice that they made in terms of helping people out with changing systems. And I'm not sure, like, it'd be interesting to find out whether or not people who had never actually, like, interacted with the Wii or the Nintendo 64 would even realize that that's why these are here. Like, there's extreme attention to a lot of details, and some of those details, it's difficult to know whether or not... Okay, that doesn't seem to open. Whether or not everyone will even recognize that they're there. think one of the interesting aspects to the fact that they did put that much time and care into all the elements in this game is just that over my time with it, occasionally I would use the fact that you do have all of those individual elements that have been put into these things to try and help me figure out what in the heck I'm looking at, because I don't necessarily recognize everything right off the bat, but like because of the amount of time and energy they put into making everything basically feel right for what it is, you can do things like pick things up, move them around, and like say, okay, what's this thing that I'm fiddling around with sound like? Like, what is it I'm dealing with here? You know, you can basically pick it up and shake it around like you would IRL with some of these kinds of things. Although, I'm still not clear on what the purpose of these ceramic whales is. Like, I can tell that they're hollow, they're ceramic, and they're whales, but, like, they don't seem to have any kind of seams on them. So, like, as best I can tell, they don't open up unless this is meant to be a lid here. But I have no idea what they're actually used for. I think a lot of things could boil down to trinket, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, you have me there. Some of this stuff is definitely just, like, stuff, basically. But the back of my mind is like, there must be a specific purpose for this thing. Like, what? There has to be something that it's used for, like a specific type of thing that it is. I'm sure that someone takes one look at it and goes, I know exactly what that is. Whereas, by contrast, I look at it and go, I have no idea what this thing is. Well, if I'm being completely fair, like, in the it's the first or second department that we get into in this game, I failed to recognize the garbage bags for what they were. My guess, based on the clues that I noticed around the place, was that it was some sort of, like, roll-upable cutting board or something like that instead. But as Fanta pointed out at the time, you can tell that they're garbage bags because one of the same variety of garbage bags is actually visible on the garbage can in the kitchen. So if you compare what the garbage bag on the garbage can in the kitchen looks like to the garbage bags that you have rolled up, you can tell that they're the same type of item. Yeah, it would still be in the kitchen at least, but there's a very big difference between where I would keep my spare garbage bags in the kitchen versus where I would keep a cutting board or something of that nature. So, okay. We have an awful lot of these things versus the amount of space we have to put them in. Well, yeah, no, I'm sticking with that observation. I'll be lurking a bit. I have some things I gotta work on the old pewter, but I'll try to pop in occasionally. It's been nice meeting you. Oh, it's nice meeting you, cat. Two. I have two cats. It's been nice meeting you too, Jester. And thank you for the lurking. Let's see. I called these N64 controllers, they're GameCube controllers. I don't know that that matters to anyone, but having just realized my mistake in that department, it will now bug me. You can't put that on its side because you can't put that on its side IRL. But see, there's no. I didn't want to say anything. I knew what you meant, of course. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I would have been all right with you pointing it out, but yeah, it's a little bit of a time and hardware gap there between those things. I will say the thing that in the back of my mind actually brought that forward again is just looking at the fact that they've done such a good job of imitating the packaging for GameCube games. Like, because I have some familiarity with these things, like I can go, oh, this at a glance is the is a GameCube game pack versus this, which is a Wii game, versus like that is a Blu-ray and this is DVD. All of which you can hear the little disc rattling around inside of when you fiddle with it. Yeah, of course it doesn't. There. This thing's... Oh, can I hang it on the door? No, I cannot. Okay. Sure. Okay. Except I'm left with one left over then. You could put the Wii on its side. If I put that there... I can at least get all those in roughly the same place. let me... Is there room for these in here? I think there is. Also, I think I'll take some and put them in the kitchen. That seems like a better place for them. Other minor detail that's nice about this game, you can stack things up pretty significantly if they're not away, like not put away somewhere that you're gonna keep them, that it doesn't think that'll fit. And then just pick up that stack of stuff and move it to another room like you would if, you know, you were actually physically moving this stuff around. Well, I tried. Because it doesn't let you move the head forward. Which I suppose is fine. Okay, if I'm moving these in here... I'm not sure that is a good plan. I'll just keep them in here for now. Hmm. I think that's okay, because people aren't liable to interact with those very often. I'm thinking about that. That's probably the right place to put that. I'll just try to ignore the fact that I can't center it. I'm gonna take this back to the kitchen, I think. I'm relatively certain that's jar of honey. And, well, you can use honey at the table while you're eating and things. It's not typically where I see people doing it, so... I'm going to run with the operational assumption that it does not go there in this case. It's kind of interesting that despite the fact we have a cane at this stage in our life, we also have a standing desk. Like, it's an adjustable standing desk, but it's a standing desk nevertheless. And also, it's a fairly recent purchase because we didn't have it at most of the previous places. So, actually, I don't think we had it at any of the previous places as I'm thinking about it. So, either our leg only bothers us when we're like walking around for an extended period of time, or we're mostly keeping the cane at this stage, as makes me wonder if their spouse uses that space as well. Yeah, that could also be the case. It definitely it definitely wasn't at the previous place, and I say that because their spouse's laptop explicitly prevented you from putting it in the office with the other computer equipment at one of the previous places, but that might not be the case now. Also, I suppose it's entirely possible that they use the tower computer for some things that they don't use their laptop for, but I'm a little disinclined to say that's probably the case on account of the fact that this is very obviously a work computer setup. Like, there are fewer post-it notes attached to this thing with our jolly little monitor friends on top, but we still have our army of post-it notes, our giant drawing tablet with built-in screen, the headphones, our pens and pencils, the eraser, like stress ball, of course. One of the most important things for somebody who is working probably mostly freelance. It I like the only thing in here that looks like it might be associated with our spouse is this thing, and honestly, that's probably mostly just because I don't recognize what type of ward this actually is. Like, I recognize that I've seen one before, and that's about the extent of what I recognize it to be off the top of my head. um, but basically everything in here is very oriented towards someone who is a graphic designer, cartoonist, and possibly children's book author. Like, these are all whatchamacallit, advanced copies slash author's copies of whatever this is. Like, to me, it looks like a children's book or a tie-in to, like, an animated show or something like that, but it could really go either way. The fact that we have so many of them down here means one of two things. One, we got a whole bunch of free copies from whatever publisher we're partnered with, and we're intended to hand them out to other people, but haven't done that yet. Or 2, we take them around to like conventions and signings and things and sell them to people. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, looks like there's 8 of them down there. With just 8 of them, I am more inclined to say that those are the copies that they give you so that you can hand them out to like family, friends, colleagues, and things like that. Because if you were intending to sell them, you would usually get more of them made at once, and you would also have a more dedicated place to store them than just sitting on your shelf. Well, ideally, some people will just sort of cram them in whatever apartment/living space they have. I can tell you, though, that's not the best idea in terms of maintaining the items in question, even outside of just organizational questions. Bathroom sink in this place is weird, and oh no. Oh, that's not too high up. Okay, that's fine. Unrelated, but may I ask who the other Twitter link belongs to? Do you both stream here? Yes. That other... So, you see the little, critter on my shoulder there? Yeah, so that is Regan, who is a demon accountant, and why I am not spending several hundred years rotting in a maximum security superhuman containment prison. As the short answer. Most Sundays, they're on here running streams of like horror games and stuff like that. Sure thing. Yes, the Leaning Tower. Oh yeah, I was about to say this stuff, which is for back pain. One of the things that I've been consistently trying to do since it showed up in the apartments is make sure that it is essentially stored where you can just reach straight across and grab it. Because, well, if you are experiencing back pain, like especially severe enough that you have a product that is specifically for treating back pain around at all times, the last thing in the universe you want to have to do in order to get your hands on it is either lean down or reach up in order to get at it. Leaning down is the worst. Reaching up is still not great, I can tell you from experience. uh, and you can somewhat tell if you're watching other people play this game who has in fact experienced that level of back pain before, because a not insubstantial number of people decide that they are going to put the thing for back pain down and at the very back of whatever space they're storing it in, which, if you are sharing space, is a recipe for whoever put it there to get a thorough talking to from somebody who is already not in the best of moods. And if you're living by yourself, it's the sort of thing where you curse past you for having not thought about this when you put it away. Oh. Hold on, this is a laundry hamper. Do we even... Well, presumably there's a laundry room somewhere, just not where we can see it. Oh. Or it could be right in there. Okay, well, this definitely goes next to this. Can I move this? No, I cannot move that. Okay. I'm gonna take a quick bio break, but I will be right back. The tapping cat is such a fun emote. Or, well, the legally distinct bongo black cat. I say that, I have no idea if there is actually any kind of a trademark on bongo cat. I'm assuming there isn't, or if there is, it's completely unenforceable given the amount of different places black cat, bongo cat appears all around the internet. There must not be, since there's so many. Well, you know, that could go either way. It's either that there isn't one, or that there is, but there are so many different instances of it wandering around that they just can't feasibly control whatever intellectual property is supposed to be in place. I think it just belongs to the internet now. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the fate of a lot of things people wanted to keep under their hat. So, funny story, the first time a rubber duck showed up in this game, I thought that it went on our desk. And I'm positive that this assumption doesn't make any sense to a lot of people. Enjoy the duck while working. That's fine. There is a certain amount of that, yeah. So, programmers, especially programmers from a certain generation of programming, have a tendency to keep a rubber duck or some similar type of figure around their cubicle / next to their monitor. I have uncountable trinkets at my desk. It's fine. Yeah. So there's actually a specific reason for that, though. You see, the idea is that if you're having like a particularly difficult problem working something out with whatever program it is you're working on at the time, that you take down the rubber duck and you explain to it the problem you're having. And what your difficulty solving that problem is. The reason being that in a lot of cases, it helps to be able to like walk through something out loud in a way that like doing it on paper or like just thinking it through doesn't necessarily. And you don't always have access to someone that has both the time and inclination to listen to you. It is kind of adorable, yes. And I have spent a certain amount of time studying computer science and computer software engineering. So, in my mind, I immediately recognized the rubber duck as something you would do that with, rather than, like, something that you just keep around because you find it. Okay, so this one's fine, but that one's not. Yeah, something that you would just keep around because it's cute, or because you were actually going to use it as a rubber duck. um, Here, maybe? All right. Well, worth a try. Yeah, I think these. Okay. Those go there, and these go in here. Put this in here? No? Okay. That's fine. I think, in a way, that story kind of it illustrates one of the reasons why it is that I enjoy watching streamers, because everyone has slightly different life experiences, or sometimes vastly different life experiences, and like knowledge bases to draw on. So the way in which people interpret different things and like try to interact with them, solve puzzles and things, is always interesting to me. Like how they process the available information and try to use it to solve problems and things is more interesting to me than necessarily how good or bad they are at, like, playing a game, if that makes sense. You accept that one. Oh, because the door is there. Okay, I see. These probably go in a good place for them. On a similar note, it's interesting to note how many people will recognize that this is a diaper changing station. Because not everyone does. Yeah, totally. In a way, it's like how this game is. You get a sense of their life through their outlook and interpretations. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. I'm positive if I watch enough different people approaching this game, I will eventually find somebody who instantly recognizes what these ceramic whales are all about. Now, do I have drawer space for these somewhere? Well, not there. That's not a bad place for those. So I know that this game is apparently willing to accept me leaving the sponge in the sink, but please never leave a sponge in the sink. You trying to get me to do this? Sure. Yeah. That seems more... That seems more functional. Similarly, like in some of the previous places, the refrigerator is right next to the sink or the stove, and a lot of people put the whiteboard on the side of the refrigerator that is facing the sink or the stove that is right there. And as I'm sure most people are aware, whiteboards don't really appreciate exposure to rapidly fluctuating levels of heat, oils, or water. So, probably not the best place to store one. I'd never keep that there, but I find it amusing that it seems to think that's an okay place to put it. this besides books. uh, sure, why not? Okay, like that. Okay. Well. Alright, if we're right-handed... that there. There. It's there. There we go. Oh, hey. Which room do I put this plant in? Alright, what don't we like in the... Ah, yeah. Headphones probably go with the laptop, right? No, wrong. Okay. Hmm. Aren't these your headphones? Hmm. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Seems to be okay with all the downstairs rooms now. Okay. Not enough room there. Let's see. And the workspace is always going to be a little cramped, but I feel like if this is where we were going to put these plants, having some that would fit on the windowsill would have been better. Okay, so what the heck do I do with this stuff? Can I put the bug spray away in here? I can do that? Okay. Actually, I'm going to put this up. I'm not going to put that up. What is this? Some kind of spray bottle. Don't know what that is. Oh, I see what this is. It's one of those mats they put in bathtubs and especially, well, mostly showers so that it is harder to slip. I partially figured that out due to the suction cup noises. Because at first glance, I thought this was just like some sort of floor mat, but those are usually not secured with suction cups, so. Put this in here. This. It's a laundry hamper, but don't like it here. I appreciate that this is some kind of fancy modern home, but the design on this sink is a little weird to me. Not enough room, I guess. Well, it seems mostly unhappy about the bathroom at the moment, so... But... what do you want me to do with the portable mirror? That is not going to happen. Put it here? Okay, I can accept that. Guess we don't have a sewing machine around this place anymore. Although, sewing machines are more for making stuff than maintaining things. So I suppose if we aren't doing cosplay and things like that much anymore, that would kind of make sense that we don't necessarily need the sewing machine. I suppose on that front, it would have been interesting to see some of the other cosplays that we as a character had tried out over the years. Because, like, you see in progress Sailor Fuku essentially early on, but not much beyond that. Yeah. Alright. So I've got you. There's some sort of spray bottle, but what? Mm-hmm. Um... Okay, well, you accept being in the kitchen, so I guess that's... Guess that's good enough for me. What is with you? You're... Huh. That is... This is an odd place for that. That is what that is. Well, I suppose it, if the game says that's where it's gotta be, that's where it's gotta be. Let's see.
The moving truck pulls up, there's a knock on the door. Now all your stuff is here, in boxes on the floor. You open up a box, there is so much to do. I open up my heart, this is now a home for two. Your houseplant brightens up the dreary windowsill. Your blanket keeps us warm in the evening chill. We pull your favorite mug out of the packing foam, stick magnets on the fridge, and we make this house a home. You put our photo smile to myself. You cut the tape with my Stanley knife, and we unpack your life. We unpack your life. Slowly, slowly our things combine. Your favorite stuffed toy right next to mine. Our prized possessions in a prime location on the bedroom shelf. I smile to myself. You cut the tape with my Stanley knife, and we unpack our life. We unpack our life. I smile to myself. You cut the tape with my Stanley knife, and we unpack our life. We unpack our life. We unpack our life.
Well, I guess my estimate of being close to the end of the game was correct. Let's see here. That is a really cute ending, I do have to say. Like, I'm really glad that things work out for whomever we are in this game well, because there are definitely some spots in there where things appear to be going less than ideally, to say the least. But yeah, that was Unpacking, actually the gruesome copy game on. Looks like I missed some interactions throughout the game, but that was adorable. Yes, it is a very cute game, in addition to being very well designed. I highly recommend it if you're thinking about picking it up at all. Let's see here. It's currently running about $20 on Steam in the United States, at least, so that's not too bad. I'm totally gonna play it and stream it, I think, even though everyone already has. You know, the thing about that is that this is one of those games that very heavily takes on a different texture depending on who's playing and interacting with it. So it has a lot of rewatch value in addition to replay value, if that makes sense. Like, there are some games where it is a very samey experience to watch different people play it, just because there's a very limited number of different ways you can succeed at it, but this is not really one of those types of games. Like, this is basically going to be a different experience every time someone else picks it up and goes through it, unless they're like intentionally following what someone else did, which would be more tedious for them than anything else, so like I can't imagine why anyone. Excuse me. True, I'll be giving it a shot for soon for sure. Do you have a set like schedule that you usually stream on right now, Cat Jester? Or just working it out as you go along? Monday, Friday around this time, actually. So, starting around this time? Like, that depends on what time zone you're in, I guess. It would definitely be reasonable for an East Coaster on Mondays and Fridays to start around 3 p.m., I guess that would make it. Ending around this time, starting about when you did. Oh, okay. Gotcha. It's a challenging time block for people that are stateside, although I don't necessarily know that you are. Starting at 12 Central Time, my time then. I try not to mention time zones since everyone's all over the place. Yeah, that's understandable. I think I've kind of gotten used to working with / watching people who are all over the place, so I'm used to converting a whole bunch of different time zones. Like, my phone has like 15 different clocks programmed into it, for instance. But that's just me. Let's see here. I'll get used to it soon, I hope. Oh, I think you probably will. It just takes a little bit of practice. It's not one of the more challenging things to handle. I think probably, like, especially when you're getting started with things, the biggest things are just remembering to check if, like, your mic is on, for instance. Although I can tell you right now, even people who have been streaming very successfully for decades will forget to do something basic like turn their mic back on a weekly basis, if not more often. So, you know, a little bit of scuff and disorientation is just all part of the game. Whether it's a hobby or something more for you, just part of the charm and part of the experience. And speaking of, let us see who is on at the moment. Been a nice stream though. I enjoyed it a lot. Very cozy. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you both enjoyed it. If you want to stick around, I think I'll pass you off to Lemon. She appears to be playing Sims 4 at the moment. I don't have any kind of raid message or anything like that, but, you know, if you want to hang out over there, that's cool. Just, you know, be chill and have a good time. But, one way or the other, the workshop should be live again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, I will catch you later. Bye, Cat. Bye, Jester.